Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational presentation where today I want to introduce a brand new masterclass that we will be presenting in the upcoming weeks. Now, if you're not familiar with our masterclasses, that's where we take a specific subject, a trading technique or a trading method or an idea or concept, and then we really delve deep into the concept and really talk about how to use it in its most basic and its most I would say, profitable form to help you. This is what we call our masterclass series. And I'm happy to say that we're going to be presenting one in the following weeks. And this time, we're going to be talking about advanced scanning. Now, I venture to say that most of you have scanned or are currently scanning using some type of platform or some type of process. But most traders are very I would say not happy, but they're just, in their feeling, their opinion about scanning, they're just not seeing the type of results. Most of the scanning capabilities are not showing them any of the ideas that they thought they could produce, and they're just not seeing the type of results, and it's reflected in their trading. For example, one of the most common types of scans is a new closing low, or as we see in this case, a new closing high. So that's basically where you have a set period, a time period, amount of days, amount of bars, where the stock or market, whatever you're tracking, whatever time period, closes at a new high. And for all intents and purposes, this is a very positive sign, right? I mean, you want to see something close at its high. Think of an athlete where he just scored the most amount of points out of any other athlete ever before, or maybe an entertainer or an artist had the most hit albums or the best reviews of a movie, the best box office sales of anyone ever before. So you would just venture to say that, it's very common that that's a very positive sign, regardless of what category you're looking at, entertainment, athletics, or even trading. So this is a very good sign. So once again, you would scan and see that it had a brand new closing high. So you would say to yourself, okay, well, I assume that that should be bought. So you jump in and buy this. This was an example in Apple just last month. And then look what happens, right? And someone would say, well, why am I scanning for these new highs? Because nothing happened after that. Well, that's why we're presenting this new masterclass in scanning, because what we're going to do is take it to the next level. Let's look at this example in Costco. Now, once again, this made a new high here, a closing high at this level right here. And by the time you would purchase this, well, you missed a good portion of the run. Well, I'm going to share with you new scans so that you can be in actually before the run takes place. For example, this was a strong uptrend scan. And right here in the middle of January of this year, it determined that there was going to be a strong uptrend, a strong run within the stock, within Costco. So at this point, you could have said to yourself, okay, now it's time to start formulating some type of plan. Here's the good news. With our scan combination, we would also give you the best entries and ways in which to enter into that strong uptrend, so that you could have taken advantage of this move, buying right here, here, and even here. So this is what a scan should do for you. It should tell you what the market wants to do, and then it should provide you with opportunities to enter into that market. And this is what we'll be going over in detail in our advanced scanning masterclass, which is starting in the following weeks. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my webinars, we're all about educating traders so that they can make their own trading decisions. Now, I started trading some 46 years ago on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for a total of 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. Specialist is someone who made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So I made markets during the crash of '87 and the bull market that followed. So I've traded and seen just about everything you can imagine, every system, every methodology, every technique, as well as I've seen every market conditions, straight up, straight down markets, sideways markets. So I formulated Specialist Trading with Pro Trader strategies simply to educate traders, because if there's one thing I've learned in 46 years, the only traders that are still around since my beginning in trading are the ones that make their own trading decisions. All of the traders that did the same things that I was taught myself, that listen to the news, that wait for earnings, that listen to so-called trading gurus to tell them what to buy or sell, they're not around anymore. And they're the ones that have stood through the test of time are the ones that have their own plan and they make their own trading decisions. And so this is what we want to instill in all of our students around the world and in every country in the United States, or every state, I should say, in the United States, because We really want you to be trading for decades, not just a couple of good months, but some decades so that you can sustain yourself. Now, this is where we go into detail in our master classes. Now, we only present these roughly about once every 1 or 2 years, and we pick a specific topic or a category involved with trading so that we can really take a deep dive into the inner workings of that specific category and really teach you what we feel are the best and most advanced ways in which to apply it to your trading. And as I said, in this particular masterclass, which is going to be beginning rather soon, we're going to be talking about scanning capabilities and how they can really help you, and most especially help you make your own trading decisions. Now, before we begin, once again, as always, we're required to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using a particular scan that I'll be teaching in the masterclass today. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, please remember that since we are an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, I'd also like to invite you all to follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there, @Specialist Trading, a little abbreviation of our company. I post different things on a daily basis, so please feel free to follow us. You can get daily updates on signals that have been generated. You can also see a lot of our financial wisdom, daily financial wisdom that can help you along your way. So great information on a daily basis, so please feel free to follow us on Twitter. And remember, as I stated, we are first and foremost an educational company. If you've come here today thinking I'm going to tell you what the market's going to do, did it bottom out, did it top out, what the best stock is to buy, what the best stock is to sell, what the best time frame is, trust me, that's not what we do. That is the opposite of what we do. Remember, we want you to make your own trading decisions. The trouble is most traders are never taught to do that. We're all taught to have somebody make our decision process for us, right? So that's why the majority of my questions are always, hey, Steve, what do you think of this stock? Or what do you think of that? You should never ask that question. You should have enough knowledge and should be well informed in order to look at any chart you like, any time frame, any market, and say, well, this is an overall uptrend. This is an overall downtrend. This is a strategy 4 buy signal here. This is a pullback scan sell signal right here. You should have the knowledge to do that. That's how you will become a consistent trader, not by blindly following some signal service or some blog that some guy's talking about every day or some so-called guru. Remember, I was taught those same things 46 years ago, and so were a number of other traders. And the majority of all traders fail, 85%. The reason is because that concept doesn't work. The only thing I have found that will sustain traders is when they make their own trading decisions. Now, the service we provide is the information and the techniques and methods that have stood the test of time to help you make your own trading decisions. So that's my goal, not to force feed you signals, not to even trade for you or tell you what the market's going to do, but to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. Same edge that was taught to me by my mentor some 46 years ago. Hopefully it will be able to sustain you the way it has sustained me as well. Okay. Now, a few things before we begin. I like to take as many questions as possible, but please reserve them for the end of today's class. This won't be a long one because we're just going to be talking about the master class and not talking about a specific strategy or anything. So if you have a question, kindly wait till the end. The only question I will answer is this one, the most common, and that is this being recorded? Yes, it is. All of you will receive a link to this recording. So if you have to leave early or if you're having technical issues, don't worry. You'll get a link and you can watch it at your own leisure, okay? So remember, wait till the end to ask questions and you'll all get a link to a recording. With that said, let's begin today's educational presentation. And for those of you who are new to trading or have never really applied a scanner, let's go into the standard basic definition of what a scanner is. A scanner is a program or a service that filters the markets to find specific stocks that meet a specific set of criteria. Now, a stock scanner is an essential tool for most traders. Like I said earlier, I would venture to say that the majority of you in class today have or are already or currently using a scanner within your trading, and that's fine, okay? Because what you want to do with a scanner basically is you pick a specific criteria or a technique or something that you're looking for. It could be fundamental, could be technical, makes no difference, but you're looking for that and seeing if that happens to come in with a list of stocks, okay, or within a specific market, because that's your edge. You want to see if that edge is present within a specific list of stocks or whatever market you're trading. So the advantages to applying a scanner are it saves you time. Now, I always have to say this, when I first started trading, the edges I was looking for, well, I had to spend an entire weekend going over hundreds, if not thousands of stocks to find the edges or the criteria that I was interested in, because there really weren't any scanners around. If there were very few and they weren't really readily available. We didn't have the internet or things like that, so it was hard to scan for things. So my scanning process was to look through a book of weekly charts and look through each individual chart, looking through the S&P 500 for that one particular edge and see what stocks had it, okay? And this took up so much time, but we didn't know any better. I thought, well, that's just the way you have to go through the process in order to find these things, right? But imagine doing the same thing that I was doing some 46 years ago in less than a minute. That's how simple it is to scan for these things now. So it's a tremendous advantage is that it saves you time. Secondly, it identifies the specific market conditions you're looking for, okay? A lot of times you may be looking for a specific technique, maybe a moving average crossover, maybe something that came out with the earnings and you're looking at it and it'll identify and bypass all of the markets or all of the different conditions that are not in sync with what you're looking for and just spit out what you're looking for. So this is really great. It also identifies these trading opportunities. You'll be able to look at these conditions and see, well, there's an actual trading opportunity because it melts perfectly with a particular technique I'm trading or a strategy I'm trading. And then lastly, it provides data for research. Many times, you don't really have a clear-cut idea of what a particular stock or what a particular market is doing. Let's say you're following a particular issue that you're really interested in, and you're looking for data, just to data research. Well, the scan can go through that entirely for you, just so that you can do your research looking at that data that it pertains to those particular conditions of the one or two stocks that you're looking at. These are great, great advantages. Here's the problem with these, though. It also comes with disadvantages. And these, in my opinion, outweigh the advantages. For example, many scans are very difficult to format, to put together, all right, to construct. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but I've often said this before. There are some platforms out there, and I've used them all, and there are some even online access, free access with scanning, that are tremendously difficult to apply. It almost takes you, it takes me back to when I was just starting to trade some 4 decades ago and looking through the charts. That's how long it takes sometimes. It will take me literally hours just to figure out how to apply a scan. And that's silly because the whole purpose of a scan is to save you time right off the bat, right? But if it's taking you hours just to formulate a scan, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And unfortunately, there are a lot of platforms that are just very complicated. It's just too difficult to format. Secondly, a lot of platforms do have scans, and they're easy to format. The unfortunate thing is they're limited in the amount of components you're looking to scan. So in other words, let's say you want something that's a little bit more advanced or something that's maybe a new idea that you're looking for, you'd like to scan for that. Unfortunately, this particular platform doesn't have that component. So you can't even apply it because it's not readily available. So you're saying to yourself, well, what's the point of a scan if I can't look for the elements that I'm interested in, for the edge that I'm looking for? And this is very, very common as well. Now, we can also have the opposite of that. Maybe there's too many components, there's too many elements, and you're just sitting there going, wow, there's just too many things to pick and choose from. I can just have a million things. And then you start getting into that analysis paralysis, right? Where you have to have all these conditions met. And once they do, then you're just, have overanalyzed everything. You're afraid to pull the trigger. So rather than not having enough components, you have too many and you're applying too many things, and you have that analysis paralysis where you just can't pull the trigger because it's just too overanalyzed. And then lastly, it fails to provide traders with answers. And this is one of the most common misconceptions, because most traders think, well, once I scan for an edge and I see it, that's the answer. I'm supposed to buy at the market or sell at the market, regardless of what the edge is. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Well, remember, we looked at that very first example. That was the new closing high scan. And how well did that work for us? Let's take a look at that again. Remember, this was in Apple. This just happened about a month ago. And a new closing high was identified with this particular, generic scan. All right. And we all know that had you said, well, I'm looking for the answer, I guess I should buy. And this is what most traders do, especially beginning traders. They say, that's a good sign, right? That's just like, a baseball player hitting the most home runs ever, right? So that means, boy, this guy's a fantastic player. He's going to be around for a long time. Well, not necessarily. And we see that that was reflected in this stock. So you have to ask yourself, well, then what is the real purpose of scanning if I'm not seeing the results that I want? If I'm not seeing the type of, setups that I'm looking for? Sure, it's finding the edge. It's taking me a long time to put it together and finding it. But then once I see that edge, it's not really giving me the same results that I thought that edge was supposed to produce. Well, it could be because your scanning process is actually backwards. You see, you're applying the edge first, and that should be secondary. So the real purpose of scanning lies in a two-part process. And this is what we're going to be going over in detail in the masterclass. All right. Now, what's the first part of the process? Firstly, you want to identify what the market wants to do. You see, we usually have it backwards. We say, okay, well, it makes no difference what the market's doing. I'll look for that edge. And wherever the edge happens to appear, well, then it's going to work, right? Well, not necessarily, as you just saw. We have to make sure that the market confirms it first before the edge is into play. So we want to identify what the market wants to do. Does it want to go straight up? Does it want to go straight down? Or does it want to go sideways? And then this brings us to the second part of the process. We want to, once we've identified what the market wants to do, we want to identify structure, or in other words, a trading plan or a method that applies specifically to what the market wants to do so that you can trade it, okay? But most traders and most scans are built to do the opposite. All we want to do is find that edge, and it's supposed to work regardless of whatever the market's doing, right? Okay, we have a brand new low. Oh, that's terrible. Doesn't matter what's happening. We're supposed to make sure that, we sell at the market because that's terrible news, right? Same thing with a brand new high. How about when the moving averages cross? Okay, you scan for that edge. You see it right here. You say, hey, that's supposed to be a good sign here because the shorter term crossed above the longer term moving average. All right, but you didn't confirm it with the market first. So this is what we're going to really be going into detail in the masterclass, because it's a two-part process. All right, let's go back to our older chart here in Apple. All right, we have a new closing high. We see that it didn't work. Now, with one of the scans I'll be teaching you in the masterclass, we want to identify what the market wants to do. And this particular scan is a strong uptrend scan. Now, well before Apple made a new closing high, it identified a strong uptrend scan edge right here. So right here, we knew the market was telling us it wants to go higher. It's got a strong uptrend scan. It met the requirements of the certain criteria that we had for this scan, all right? So once we know that, then we go to phase 2 of the scanning process, which is we have to apply some structure that meets that strong uptrend need, all right, in the form of a trading plan. And we also provide this in the course. So we want to identify structure to apply to the market, and we see that a buy signal was generated right here using a technique, and then, whoops, and then another one right here. Let me just go backwards. There it is. And then another one right there. So this is how scans are supposed to help us. Scans are supposed to go through that process of identifying what the market wants to do or what the market is saying it wants to do. And then we have to find a particular method or plan that fits, that coincides with what the market wants to do. You see, it's not the reverse. We don't just say, well, we'll look for the edge and the market will, confirm anything where this edge is. No, it's the opposite. You always have to follow the market. The market is the river, okay? The market is going to do what it wants to do, whether it's going to be a strong trending river, whether it's a pond and it's not moving at all, or whether it's very strong rapids. So we have to identify that. Once we identify what the conditions of the market is, what the river is, then we can decide what type of boat or floating mechanism we want to put in that water. All right. So in other words, if we see that the conditions of the river are a very strong rapid and there's going to be a waterfall here pretty soon, we don't want to jump in with an inner tube, right? That's not meeting the needs of the market conditions. We want to jump in with a strong boat or a strong raft that has the capability of us to maneuver. All right. Now, secondarily, if we see that the conditions of the river are like not moving at all, they're like just a still water pond. Well, we don't want to go in there with a big power boat, or something we want to just jump in with a raft or an inner tube just to enjoy the slow movement of the river, almost like a lake. Okay, we want something to complement what the market wants to do. That's what we've got to identify first, and then we can apply structure that fits that market. And the good news is, these are all combinations that we have in these scans. In fact, let me talk to you about one that we've been researching and has really shown a lot of promise. This is our new pullback scan. Okay, this identifies the high probability areas to jump into a pullback. Now, many of you have seen my webinars, you know what a pullback is, but for those of you who don't, pullback conditions are a three-step process. All right, whatever market you're trading makes no difference with time frame. Usually the first phase is that the market sets off in some type of a trend. And then phase two is the counter trend. It goes the exact opposite direction. Here's the trouble. At this time, and we don't even know yet, but at this time it appears that the trend has changed and now it's going to be going in that direction for a sustained amount of time. But here's what happens with a pullback. A pullback all of a sudden changes on a dime and then resumes the original direction of phase one. So what we want to do with a pullback scan is to identify this area right here that is prime opportunity to buy. This is our pullback scan buy area. And then once we've identified that, then we provide you in the scan as well, or with other techniques that I'll share with you in the course, how to enter within that pullback area, okay? So this is a very simple but powerful way to trade pullbacks, extremely easy. You can scan for these on a nightly basis. Let me just share with you some of the most recent pullback scan examples, okay? All right, here's an example in Meta. This was coming into February. Now someone's saying, well, okay, we've gone up, but it looks like we've topped out. I went to that chat room and says, you got to get out because we're going to go straight down now. And for a while, it looks like that. But this is actually phase one of the direction, phase two in which we're going lower. And then what you want to do when you're going lower is say, okay, let me run a scan to see if it's meeting the conditions of a pullback buy area. And we ran the scan, and guess what? Yes, it was this area right here. So I know just off the top of my head, two buy techniques and ways in which to enter, which could have had you entering and taking advantage of the next 20 points that came in this past week. Here's another example in Tesla. Now, most traders, beginning traders will say, okay, Steve, I understand this concept. I really don't have to, be a member of this masterclass because I understand that this is the pullback, right? So we're pulling back and now it looks like we have some nice, really good support here. So what I'm going to do is buy, this is the buy area on the pullback before it goes back up and goes in the direction, right? No, not really, because we ran a scan and this was the pullback sell area right here. In other words, this was phase one and then phase two. So this was telling us high probability area to go short, and look what happened after that, okay? And if you missed that, you could still continue running scans on this bounce. Now, nothing was approached there. It didn't give you any pullback sell area scan, so there was nothing there. But on this little bounce here, guess what? Another scan would have given you the information saying, here's some more prime area to go short or to sell. And you could have taken advantage of that as well. All right, let's look at BB1. All right, this was just a couple of months ago in January. What's going to happen here? We went up and it looks like we're going much lower, right? 3 really strong down days, right? Maybe this was the pullback. We're going lower. Well, if you ran the scan, this is actually a pullback buy area. This was just a couple of months ago in BBY, and look what happened after that, okay? Remember, once again, I can't give away the farm here, but there are specific entry techniques that we teach you in the course, so you'll know exactly where to get in. All right, someone looking at AEE just last month, a few weeks ago actually, would say, okay, Steve, listen, we're in an uptrend here. Look at all these bars where we close higher. This is a strong sign in that course I took that we're going higher. Well, it looks that way, but what is the scan telling you? This is a pullback sell area. This was phase one, and this short little bounce here is just a pullback. And it's met all the requirements, excuse me, and it's getting ready to go lower. Now we'll show you a way in which to enter, and you could have taken advantage of this nice sell-off. Here's an example in Pepsi, PEP. This is going back to last year. Someone saying, well, gosh, I have no idea. It looks like it's maybe wants to go higher, but I don't know. We have like 3 strong closing lower days here. And that chat room I went to says there's major resistance. This is where all the banks are selling. So I think I'm going to be a seller too, right? Well, if you ran the scan, you can run this every day after the close, you would have seen there's no resistance there, none at all. In fact, this is a pullback buy area. So you want to be buying somewhere around here. We'll teach you where to buy, and you could have taken advantage of this. What happened to the so-called resistance? I want you to look at this chart here in CRM, Salesforce. Okay, this is a daily chart, and this was just a couple of weeks ago. All right, we have phase one here. This is phase two. Looked like the market was going much, much lower. We closed near its lows, but look, you could have taken advantage of this really nice run up. Now, obviously, some news came out that caused it to gap up roughly about 15 points or so. It's funny how just using this simple pullback scan, you would have known to get in well in advance. Now, this is off a daily chart. What happens if we went to a different time frame? Well, here's a weekly chart of the same exact stock going back to last year. The same process can happen in any market in any time frame, even if it's the same market. So right now, what we have is phase one, and this little bounce here is phase two, is a pullback sell area. It met all the requirements in the scan, and you could have taken advantage of that strong move to the downside. So it all depends on what time frame you're trading. All right, we never combine time frames. We never overcomplicate things and say, well, if there's a pullback sell area scan that's been triggered in the weekly, that means I have to look for a sell scan on the daily. No, just trade the market you're identifying in. That's it. If you're identified a pullback seller area in a weekly chart, then that's all you're looking at. You're not concerned with the monthly chart. You're not concerned with the daily, the hourly. That's overcomplicating your trading. Take it from someone who was taught that same technique over 4 decades ago. I've never seen any consistency using that. I know it's almost, in my opinion, like an urban myth that we're supposed to look at 2 different time frames, but it's never worked for me, so I'm not teaching that to you. If you want to use that technique and look at 2 different time frames, you're more than welcome to, but it is in no way is that style or concept required for any of our trading. Let's look at a chart of Bitcoin. Okay, this was just last week, I should say last month, a couple of weeks ago. Phase one, and here's phase two. Everyone thought, well, it's coming straight down, but this actually met all the requirements on our pullback scan and could have taken advantage of that nice little run. Now, that's a daily chart. Once again, we can go to a weekly chart. Same thing was shown here going back 2 years in a weekly chart. Phase one, phase two. Now, at this point, everyone's saying, gosh, you got to get out of Bitcoin on a weekly time frame. It looks terrible. Well, if you ran the scan at the end of every week, you see that this was all a pullback buy area. We'd show you the most opportune places to enter, and you could have taken advantage of this nice bounce coming into the next year. What if you're an intraday trader here? Well, here's a 4-hour chart of the Australian dollar for all you cryptocurrency, or I should say for all you currency pair traders, not cryptocurrency, currency pair. Here's a selection of phase one to the downside. Here's phase two. Instead of it being some type of a bottom, it's a opportunity to go short because this is a pullback sell area according to the scan. And look what happened. 300 pips in the next week, roughly about $3,000 potentially. Now, I want to share with you a monthly chart of the spiders. This is current chart here. This is going back. Each one of these bars is a month. We went straight up. We know that in 2020, all the way up to the beginning of 2022. And we've been coming straight down since then. Now, is this a really bad bear market? Well, on this particular time frame, if you ran a scan, this is a pullback buy area. Okay, this was notified to us through the scan all the way back to last August, September, and the market has bounced and gone up a little higher, but is it going to continue? Well, it's something to watch, because I'm not going to tell you that everything works 100% all the time, but there is a high level of consistency because you're using these parameters that work over and over and over again. All right, let's go over the contents of the course, okay? We're going to be sharing with you and teaching you scans that identify the best markets and the best sectors to trade. Remember, we're first looking for the markets and what they want to do, and then we'll teach you scans that identify the best stocks to trade within those markets or sectors, and then we'll teach you how to enter, how to place your orders and where to place your entry, your stop, and your exits. We'll also go through new scanning research, things that we've been looking at the past year or so that really helps, that will really take your scanning to the next level. We'll also introduce you to new scanning techniques. These are techniques that I have been using for a while, but I've never really taught, and they really help you in getting that extra edge when you're looking for specific trading techniques. Also, numerous scanning combinations to choose from. These are a part of our new research because these are combinations of other techniques, other methods that we have currently on our platform that you can combine together that really have some really nice edges, things we've never talked about before, which brings us to the last category here, never before taught scanning processes. Because this is something we have never shared with students before. This is something just through our research that we have found, and it's brand new. You will be some of the first to apply these scanning processes amongst all of our students around the world. These are never before taught scanning process techniques and research that you will be privy to by becoming a member of the masterclass. Remember, this is all included in the masterclass where we're talking about advanced scanning. Every year or two, every couple of years, we pick a specific category, a specific topic, anywhere from entries to stop placements to money management to even a specific indicator like the PET-D. In this particular one, we're talking about something we've never discussed before, that's advanced scanning. In fact, I would venture to say that even through our individualized courses, we've never really touched a lot about scanning. We're really going into a deep dive with this in this particular masterclass. Now, if you go onto our website, Specialist Trading or Pro Trader Strategies, you'll see a number of positive reviews and testimonials from our past traders in our past courses, okay? And it doesn't matter. A lot of students will say, gosh, this is an advanced scanning process. I've only been trading for a week or so. I really don't feel comfortable. It makes no difference how long you've been trading or your level of expertise. Here's one testimonial we had from a hedge fund trader that took one of our courses. He said, Primo's mentoring has been a cornerstone of my career over the last 25 years. As I type this note, 26 of 40 positions in our portfolio are from a swing strategy of Primo's that I specialize in. Primo's greatest gift was separating me from my emotions and teaching me to listen to the market. And that's what the scanning process will do in our masterclass. We'll separate you from your emotions and just show you through the scans where these edges are and where you can finally and ultimately make your own decisions and become a part of the process. Okay, let's jump right into it. We have a great attendee discount for all of you, an early bird discount for becoming a student of ours in the masterclass, okay? You're going to get detailed instruction. This is a live class, by the way. A lot of people will say, well, Steve, I took and bought one of your courses. I got the video. Well, this is a live class. Now, we know that not everyone is able to make it, and you will receive the taped recorded version, but you're all invited as students of mine to be in this masterclass. We like to keep the class down to an intimate level, so it's just not too overbearing with hundreds and hundreds of students. We like to keep it down to a nice level. So the live class is a great way to learn. It's a great way to ask questions, and we will be conducting a live class in the upcoming weeks. You'll get these advanced scanning techniques. Remember, you'll save so much time identifying the best stocks and these edges with the best stocks, okay? And another advantage we didn't talk about is that it helps filter out these weak trade setups. Everything you're going to be seeing is taught by yours truly, someone with 46 years of trading experience, someone who has used these edges and who has scanned with these before. And as you see here, we're also going to include the PTS Primo educational platform. Now, we're going to give you, included within the masterclass, a full year of the PTS Primo charting platform, the trading and educational portal you've been searching for. So let's break this down, okay? let's break down this early bird special. And normally our master classes cost roughly close to $5,000, okay? We're going to have a discount today of 10%. We're not going to charge you that. We're going to drop the price down to $44.95. That's our early bird price. Remember, it also includes a full year of the platform, which automatically takes out thousands of dollars on the price. And on top of that, we're going to include payment plans. So if you can't come up with a $44.95, not to worry, you can, for a small deposit, you can still be up and running. Now, what I taught you today was just a small portion of the many advanced scanning techniques I'll be teaching you. And you can be up and running and start scanning for these on a nightly basis and look for those edges and then know exactly how to enter, where to exit, where to place your stop. Take your trading to the next level. Become a member of our new scanning masterclass. Remember, our whole goal at Specialist Trading is simply to educate you. We feel that the only way you can become a consistent trader is not by having the best strategies, not by having the best system. It's not by knowing exactly where the highs or lows are going to be. No, because those don't exist. It's by educating yourself. You see, there really is a holy grail to consistency, to becoming a consistent trader, and it's called educating yourself. That's the service we provide. So take your trading to the next level, become a member of our new scanning masterclass. Here's how to take advantage of that discount. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of all the discounts and all the pricing. I would recommend giving them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They can help you establish a payment plan. So if you'd like to get a quote on a payment plan, they can do that over the phone, and you can think about it, but don't sit too long before the price goes back up to close to $5,000, okay? Now, I promised I would answer any questions that you may have. So please, if you do have a question, go to the question and answer box, and I will be happy to answer anything you have. Someone's asking, is that a live link? Oh, it's not a live link. Hold on. Let me just post the link you see there. Okay, if you go to the chat box, I just posted that link you see at the very bottom there, because that's not a live link. But what you can do is just simply click that on, and it will take you to the info page, okay? And you can actually, if you'd like to, you can sign up there as well. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Let me see here. Someone's also asking, so can it work on virtually any market? Yes, it does. So wherever there's a market, wherever there is a trending market or some type of market that is meeting the requirements of this 1-2 phase of our scanning process, you can scan for. And the good news is we provide you with all this different data, anywhere from currency pairs, cryptos, ETFs, all the major indices, the Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100. So virtually almost all the major markets you can look through and scan. Someone's asking, how long does it take for these scannings to take place? Well, if you're looking for it on, let's say, on a nightly basis, and you're looking through the S&P 500, you can virtually scan through this, and I would say the scanning process takes less than a minute. In other words, for all of the setups to be generated and to be provided for you on our scanning page. And then it's up to you. Now, if let's say there are 10 or 20 stocks that meet the edges of the particular scan, well, maybe it'll take you 10 minutes to a half an hour to go through all of them. It's up to you. But remember, it used to take me an entire weekend just to do this process. You can be finished in a matter of minutes. So that's how clean this is. That's how really, extreme and advanced this scanning process is, but it's extremely simple. I don't want you to think that it's so overcomplicated that it's going to take you so long to figure out. It's just a few clicks on your mouse and you automatically know exactly what you've been looking for. So this is one of the great advantages of this, okay? Let me see here. How long is this special taking place? Well, this usually, I mean, we're going to be conducting the class within the next, I would say, a few weeks or weeks to a month. So this offer will probably last within the next few weeks. And then as we get closer to the class, most likely the price will go back up. But remember, that's all dependent upon Pro Trader Strategies. They determine and decide the pricing as well as the discounts. So if they decide to keep it or if they decide to increase the rate of the course, it's entirely up to them, okay? Good questions, okay? As we close here, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday to hear about our new introduction with this masterclass. But really, I think if you really want to take your trading to the next level and you like doing the research and you like coming up with different options, different ways in which to decide, this is a great, great course for you. This is our masterclass. We've been doing this for years now. Like I said, every couple of years we have a masterclass. We've been doing this now for over a decade, and it's really a very popular series with all of our students. So take advantage of this discount. Contact Pro Trader Strategies at 310-598-6677. They would be more than happy to give you a quote over the phone or even take your order to make you first in line for the class. As we take one last look, our disclaimer, I just want to say thanks once again. I hope you learned something, and most especially, I look forward to you becoming a student of mine in the Advanced Scanning Masterclass. This is coming up in a few weeks from now. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.